G'day guys, it's Calvin from the Cartoon Company down under in New Zealand. This is meant to be summer. I'm wearing my overalls because it's been quite chilly today, but it looks like it's going to be fine soon. Yesterday I was 3 layers deep, and a few days earlier singlet and shorts was too hot. So our weather's a bit crazy. I did a little bit of fixing on my brother-in-law's Suzuki. I call it my Suzuki, but it isn't mine, it is borrowed. And I took it for a bit of a test drive yesterday. Unfortunately, I got it a little bit wrong, taking a different line, and I had to eat some humble pie and make the phone call to be rescued. I knew one day that tree was going to catch me out. And I also had to get out the big gear onto the hoist and do my mum's lawnmower. I'm actually a mechanic. I'm not an auto sparky. I have got no auto electrical training at all. So that gives you guys hope that are doing this sort of stuff. I'm self-taught. I had to learn this because I couldn't find any auto sparkies to do this sort of job. And a lot of guys I talked to didn't exhibit the knowledge that I needed to be confident they could do the job. So I taught myself, and here I am today, a large part of my work being engine wiring. You can hear the shop starting to heat up, the roof starting to heat up as it starts to talk. Yet again, I'm going to go over why we try not to change looms between different engines. It's much easier if you stick with the correct one. And as I say that, I'm changing computers and looms on an engine. So this one's going in a hot rod. I believe the ECU that came off this is the second version of the UCF10. No cold start injector. This loom has cold start. This is a Soarer, or SC400 for you guys over in the States. So that's Soarer loom. Traction control, I'm clipping that off as per normal and making some changes and making it work. I've got a plan already in place. I'm hooking into it. I'm going to whip up a loom for under the intake manifold out of that which was supplied. I'm then going to turn this into something good. I can tell it's Soarer because we've got all three 40, 40, 40 right there. And the narrow body. There's not much sticking out the side of the header plug. Runs the alloy airflow meter. Alloy body, I should say. With a loom through the center of the engine. This stuff here, I'm going to change. This stuff here, I'm going to change and repair because there's the oxygen sensor wire. So this vehicle would have originally had 4-wire oxygen sensors, this engine, but it's going to come back to having a single wire oxygen sensor. So we're going the other way. Igniters. The igniters are run off this loom that comes around the side of the engine and runs along, and these two big body plugs here which go in by the fuse box. There's the igniters. I'm going to change that around. Got extra wires hanging up for things like heater switches. Right, let's get into this. Now, I would like to do a long wiring video on how to do these 40, 40, 40 ECUs. However, this isn't a normal one, so we're not going to do that.
A little bit of a strip down has happened. All the coverings are gone. No, this is yuck. Because the layout of this loom just does not suit what I'm trying to do. And hopefully I've got a plan forming in my head that is going to work. So these are coming out of here. The main power is going to be laid back through there by the ECU. But the igniters aren't going in there. Don't put the igniters there. So the igniters are going to be over here somewhere. I haven't formulated an exact plan for that. That's a start. Traction control, that's got to come out. That's this one. Here it is here. Traction control. God. So I hauled the knock loom and start loom out of that, and I looked at it and it was crap, so I made a new one. I rated my seconds box. I had a bit of mil spec 3 core for the knock sensors. I just clipped the core out, some new plugs, new connector. We're good. Can go in. This is the left, this is the right. Number 1 goes to the same as number 1 cylinder. I can now refit the intake manifold to Old Yeller. The last job, even Old Yeller's injectors were rated. This one, I'm going to stick this manifold on, and then I'll continue with the wiring loop. Intake manifold is on, and my compressor starts. That's the dooga 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 noise in the background. With the manifold on, of course the start and knock sensor loom has been fitted. And I'll be using that exact loom to go with this setup. I think what I'm going to do now, I've got all these coverings off. I'm going to pull the airflow meter wiring through the right hand loom, side of the loom, and I'll pop it out and go across the tappet cover. That keeps away from the hot down the side of the engine. I'll go through the center here, and we're going to pull out the sub TPS. And I'm just going to work my way through. Right hand, through the center, through the left hand side of the loom. And I'll do the back piece and pull that over. I'll have a chat about the transmission loom when I get to it. all my injector plugs have been changed, and I've done my TPS. Now I'm working my way. It's not very pleasant in this one. There we go. That was easy, eh? Now I'm working my way through the temp sensor over here. Now on a lot of modified vehicles and hot rods, they end up getting different temp gauges. So there's normally a plug by the airflow meter. This one. That one there. Same as the cold start, which is back here. Same but different. Different lug. So I've reused that one of those wires just in case we need to put an earth wire to that temp sensor. We're going to pluck the rest of these plugs off. EFI temp sensor, quite brittle. Coil plug. Falling apart as I take it apart. Oh, there's only 3. That's easy. I'm going to pop that plug off and braid that as well. I've got them brand new, and I suspect it's going to fall apart. And the other thing you can do when you're pulling these apart, if you are worried, take out your phone, take it a photograph. There's 2 different browns, so just beware of that. So you were paying attention, I hope, to which way round these went. Did you put this on? Even the best of us forget this sort of stuff. Right, put them back in there again. So you were paying attention, eh? Because I've just done it a second time for you guys. It's only 5 wires, so it's actually not too hard to remember it. Did I get it right? We've braided up those last ones. But I've noticed on the temp, just by the sensor itself, the wires are a bit disgusting. So that's a problem solved there. And we'll crimp some new terminals on. As per normal, I will be supplying a new EFI temp sensor. And that way, I have very few problems with them. This loom's in surprisingly good condition. The wires are generally pretty good. The coverings had some suppleness, but I'm still cutting them off and braiding them up because, like other coverings, they will go hard. These factory ones they're just starting to get that hardness to them. You guys were paying attention which way around this plug was, eh? It isn't actually sensitive to polarity, that one. And unfortunately, my coil plugs are a different design. So I'm just going to whip them off too. Coils are polarity sensitive, so make sure you put them on the correct way. Coils are actually really easy to remember. The positive is beside the plug, beside the connector. The clip, lock? But that's the lock. Beside the tabby thing. What I've decided to do with the temp sensor for the gauge is I put a 2-pin. We can just plug the top one in, marked it with the blue. Before I button all this up, I put a bit of tape in a few spots. I've put a bit of cloth tape around the back here, but I think the self-wrapping braid might be the go on this one. And when it tucks down into this covering, it sits there like that. That sits there like that. So there, that, and it sticks out there like that. One little part of the loom done. Don't forget to put the lock into the airflow meter. Next one through the centre. Centre has the cold start injector timer plug. I've got new ones of those. Idle speed, got that sorted. And the diagnostic. We'll do a bit of a mod on that one, change some pins around, make it so it'll actually plug into a scan tool. See, this is Soarer. Might actually have enough. Let's have a look. TE2 is missing, no. So TE1 is there. No W. Check engine light. E1 is there, TE2, VF1. Okay, so we need TE2 and W for this to work. The connector that I've got for the idle speeds is slightly different to the standard one. I've normally got the standard ones, but I've used them all up. So this one will suffice, and that last one doesn't want to come out. Can you see why I was changing it? So what I do is I cut them off actually up just on the back of the seal. This way I keep the wires as long as I can. This is a rubber seal. A little bit hard. Righto, so these are really simple. The center 2 pins are voltage, black, red, and then the other colors go around it. It isn't just any random order. You'll notice I've got 3 extra wires that I'm just going to recycle. They are going to sit under the plenum for the likes of a fan switch or anything like that that might need to go in later on. So the engine that this is going on to doesn't have a cold start timer, and I'm not a fan of swapping them without it. Being in New Zealand, we're not that cold, so hopefully we will get away without it. And if not, then the owner does realise that he will have to swap in the cold start timer and the cold start injector and a fuel rail. Nightfall has fallen. I've actually got a little bit of a bovine aroma happening at the moment. We got a phone call after dinner that there's a truck coming tomorrow to truck some bulls out. So I was in the stockyards drafting up cattle. I'm not sure if any of you worked with cattle when it's sort of on dusk. They can get a little bit frisky and a bit unsettled. But that's done. It's now dark, and I thought, hey, I'm out and about. I may as well do some more wiring. I've got my diagrams, and my diagrams actually show like the pinout of each of these. Oh, not that one. So I'm going to pull a few wires out. I've got the left hand, that's left? Yeah, that's left. The left hand loom in pieces. And there's actually the lock out of the main crank plug is missing, which is kind of weird. So I'll put a new one of those on. And I've got a little bit of the transmission loom happening as well. I'm going to fit a plug there. It's quite fortunate. It had a 6 pin. I've got to put an 8 pin, and the plug's just vaporized. It wasn't there. I also need to change the shift inhibit plug because they're different. The joys of swapping looms. So I've got some of these spare wires. So we just hoik them out. Hoik. Is that the right word? We just gently remove them. That goes up there. You'll notice up in here, this is a factory join. There's a lot of rubber and silicone. Look at this. That is a factory Toyota there. Sticky and goopy on my fingers. I want this, what's one here? It's that one there. It's coming up, easy. This one. It's over there somewhere. And you'll notice there's a lot of extra plugs here on these. And that's just the way these SC400s or Soarers are. They've got a heap of extra plugs. And we just work our way through. That one. Hopefully we'll end up with a little bit of a smaller loom. But then of course I'm going to put some of that through it. I wonder what that one is. And every now and then I do actually check what the wires are. Oh, it goes lots of places. Not anymore, it doesn't. One, two, and there's a third one over here. I think it's this one. And you'll notice there is a lot of wiring in there. Again, that's just what a Soarer's like. But it won't be for long. And the original one is that one. And there's a plug here for the heater. Right, so I've got some more wires to remove, and I've got this side of the loom to do, injector plugs to replace, all the normal stuff. And I will be back to you once I've done that. And I might even do some of that transmission stuff as well. Oh, that's interesting. That one goes to the ECU. Well, it did. trying to use quite a small piece of braid. I'm not sure I'm going to be successful, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. Oh, sometimes I'll tape up all the terminals. Righto, let's put some wires in this plug. The lock is pressed in. Just deliberate mistake of the day. Got to pull the lock out. Yellow, brown, green, red, white, brown. And I did pop a little red mark on the second brown, so I know I've got them the right way round. Right, and this one's all broken. Oh, no, nothing wrong with that. Oh, it's just falling apart. And guys say you shouldn't touch them because they fall apart. Problem is they fall apart in service and then give bad connection problems. We'll start in the right place. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Look at that. And into the plug. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Nice and easy to remember those ones. Covering on, and I think we'll call that a day.